Something terrible happened 13 years ago. There was a rift within our family. I had an issue with our upbringing. My wife found an online forum where some former Calvary Chapel Visalia members were sharing negative experiences they felt they had with my dad in this church. I read it and I believed everything. I wanted to believe it because I was at odds with my parents. I led a blog jihad against Calvary Chapel. What I regret most, though, are two issues that I reported that turned out not to be true. The first was that my dad stole money from the church. The witness that had reported that to me later recanted. It turns out it was false. The most serious accusation made was when my brother Paul came forward and had me post on my blog a statement that my dad, our dad, sexually abused him. And I shouted this accusation from the rooftops. My brother Paul fully recanted that statement. My dad did not sexually abuse him. I believe that recantation. Dad, Mom, Calvary Chapel Visalia, I am deeply sorry for spreading that false accusation. And I'm so glad that it's not true and that it's been recanted. You know, we had that terrible split 13 years ago. And when I approached that private family issue, I was coming from a position of pride and anger. And I felt that things had to be resolved in my way and that I was right and my dad was wrong. And then battle lines were drawn and sides were chosen, and we had this terrible separation of relationship within our family. And the hole got dug deeper and deeper and deeper.
There's nothing harder than, losing a relationship with your children. And it was so painful that I didn't go anywhere for
about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, because I just cried all the time. It was such a loss and almost unbearable at times. I knew that until I had my last breath that I would pray. I knew that it was not impossible, that things were possible, all things with God.
I'd walk through the house every day and I'd see the butt of that gun up there, and every time I'd see it, 20, 30 times a day, I would think, all I need to do is just reach up there and grab that gun.
So I hit it.
She hit it, yeah. But after a while, we began to see the ways of the Lord as we had never seen them before. And so that began to offer us hope. Somehow, somewhere, God just set us free.
The years went on and the situation spiraled out of control. I started making terrible choices in my pride and anger. I had separated from my wife. I had lost focus on my business there. And the weight of that, the weight of the consequences of the terrible predicament I was in too, because we were engaged in a $14 million defamation suit. When all of a sudden someone goes from sending an email or making a comment on a blog to being deposed in a serious legal setting, it tends to sift, truth from fiction. Then all of a sudden when they're on the spot and their story starts to change, you start to realize, wow, that's not how it was told to me. And it was during that realization that I really began to break, because these are my parents, and deep down, it was the hurt of that separation of relationship that drove me. But deep down, I didn't want the stuff to be true. And then I found out it wasn't. But then how do you clean up this mess? It was such a big mess. It was such a big mess.
I had always thought if I received a call from one of my children, I would know almost by the end of the first syllable where we were heading. And I heard my son Alex say something like, "Dad, this is Alex. This is your son Alex. Dad, I'm sorry, and would you please forgive me?" And I think what I said is, "Honey, I love you, and of course I forgive you. You're my son."
I so wanted to hear those words for so long. I just didn't know how to get there, and to hear, you were so kind. And you were just like, son, I love you, come home. And it just, all that angst and anger just vanished. And then hearing mom's voice again, and, it was so, all that negativity, all that darkness, just like that, just lifted.
I have a brand new, almost a babyhood growing understanding of how sacred the family is. And so this is the beginning of our life again.
Yes.
It's the beginning of our life.
It was quite a moment.
It was quite a moment.
I like this side of the joy. I did have joy in the trial. It's a
But it's different.
yeah, it's different, but this is a time of rejoicing, and I just have a tremendous joy that my family is reconciled.
Weeping may endure for a night or for 13 years, but joy comes in the morning. That's a promise from God. So we are learning. I mean, we're not spring chickens, although I do feel I have a lot of spring left in my chicken. But we feel, why hurt people? Let's love one another.
Exactly.
The world has got enough pain. We need to hold one another up and be patient and long-suffering. And I mean, that's a high calling, but that's what we're called to. I had hoped my son Alex and myself would be able to stand before our congregation reconciled. And it has happened.
Yeah.
And God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think.
The only time I hear the song in run, and then he ran to me, took me in his arms, held my head to his chest, said, "My son's come home again," lifted my face, wiped the tears from my eyes, with forgiveness in his voice, I felt his love for me again. He ran to me, took me in his arms, held my head to his chest, said, "My son's come home again," lifted my face, wiped the tears from my eyes, with forgiveness in his voice, he said, "Son," he said, "Son, my son, do you know I still love you?" Oh, he ran to me. When God ran.
We really hope that how the Lord has blessed us will be an encouragement to someone.